Hello and welcome to a new video. Today I'm here to do summer book wrap-up. So I do have a booktubeathon wrap-up, but I'm just gonna go through all of the books I read during the summer up until the end of September, and I'm gonna talk about the ones that are not in the booktubeathon wrap-up. This is just the summer read, so after school ended, after classes ended, this is what I read after that. So everything I've read since classes ended at the end of May until the end of September, which is so June, July, August and September, so 4 months. Yeah, let's start. So the first book I actually finished after classes. I haven't talked about this, I think, or if I have, I'm just gonna mention it was Lady Susan, not this edition. This is a new hauled edition that I have on a new book haul that you can check out in my videos. This is I read Lady Susan, and it was really funny, really sarcastic, and I give it 4 out of 5 stars. Again, I love Jane Austen. Everything she does, she cannot go wrong for me. The next book I have and that I read was the heartbreaking 4th novel in the Heroes of Olympus series, and that is The House of Hades. This is the UK edition, the ugly covers, yes. By Rick Riordan. Now this was painful to read, and I think it's amazing that this can still be a middle grade book and the characters go through so much pain and change, and still they are very strong, and you know, it's still appropriate for middle grade audiences, but everyone can read it because it's so good and it's so well done, and I cannot believe how much Rick Riordan remembers to do with Greek and Roman mythology. It's really insane. And yeah, I really like this volume. I completed the series this summer and I just want to reread it because it's amazing. So I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. Next, it's all the books I read during the booktubeathon. So it's a few. I'm just gonna go through them and their ratings. The next book was the first one I read during the booktubeathon in the first day, which is The Upside of Unrequited by Becky Albertalli. This is her second novel. I'm reading them in publication order because that's the kind of person I am. Really enjoyed it, really cute, really diverse cast of characters, and important story to tell, and just quirky and cute and lovable. I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. The next book I read after reading that one was, I think it was this one, which is Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. So I've read 2 Jane Austen novels this year already. This was one of the ones that I was missing, and I knew I needed to read it. It's a beautifully written story, very sarcastic, very witty, a very good observation on the Gothic genre and novels, and it's kind of a defense of the novel and the romance, which at the time of Jane Austen's writing this, it was still very in its beginnings and it was not that popular. A lot of the books were non-fiction or poetry, and at the same time it's also like a critique of all those very Gothic romance novels that, you know, she critiques in other books like Love and Friendship, which she wrote when she was like really young, like 16 or something like that. Northanger Abbey is like the first novel that she actually wrote, but it was one of the last one that was published while she was alive. A really cute story about Catherine Morland, who is like one of the many daughters and sons that her parents have, and she goes to Bath, and you know, craziness ensues, and it's really cute, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. I do feel like there's a lot of more character development in her later works, especially Pride and Prejudice, Sense and Sensibility, and especially Emma, of course, and I cannot wait to read Mansfield Park, especially because of that. But yeah, I really enjoyed it, and of course it's highly recommended because it's Jane Austen. It's amazing. The next book was a little short read called England, Your England by George Orwell. This is a little pamphlet that he wrote about England. It was really insightful and interesting, and again, George Orwell can do no wrong. This is a 4 out of 5 stars. I'm not saying these in order because my booktubeathon wrap-up video has them in order, and because I genuinely cannot remember it now. But yeah, I gave this 4 out of 5 stars. Very interesting, very short, very deep read as well. Like, George Orwell is a master of the written word. Then I read this biography, and it's a illustrated biography of Frida Kahlo. This goes very in the same vein as the movie does, the movie Frida with Selma Hayek, and it's really cute and interesting, and it plays a lot with her actual paintings, which I found beautiful. And really enjoyed reading this. It was really fast read as well, which was good for the booktubeathon. I gave this book 4 out of 5 stars, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, 4 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. The next book was a very, iffy read for me. it did give me some context. But I'm a person that's addicted to royalty for some, and history in general. So not a lot of these stories were new, but a lot of details were. This is Royal Love Stories, or this is a Portuguese edition, so translated by Gil Paul. It was just a very, not that fast, but I read it in like 5 hours. It's a book about, you know, royal love stories, so like couples, and they're not all happy ones actually. And I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars. The next book is a John Green book that I read during the booktubeathon, and that was An Abundance of Catherines. And actually, despite what I've read online, I actually really enjoyed this book. I think it was really quirky and funny and, you know, very nerdy. I really enjoyed the mathematics behind it. I thought it was like a really nerdy touch that I enjoy, and I appreciate the effort that John Green put into those kinds of, you know, that kind of aspect. The story is really cute. Again, is there much of a plot? No. Did I enjoy it? Yes. You can hear more about my thoughts about it on my booktubeathon wrap-up video, but I did give it 4 out of 5 stars, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, 4 out of 5 stars, which is a good rating. It would be more of a 4.25 stars. But my last actual read for the booktubeathon was one of my most expected reads for this summer, and that was Sophie Kinsella's Surprise Me, which was our newest release and so far, but there's a new book coming out already, and I'm very excited. This is the story of a married couple who suddenly realizes they still have a long way to go. They're gonna be married for 60 plus years if everything goes according to plan, you know, if everything goes well. And, you know, chaos ensues because of that. But there's a deeper side to it, very problematic story with her father, who has passed away a few years ago, and it's really interesting. I really like to read it, and I really like to read Sophie Kinsella's stories. It is a full 4 stars for me. I really enjoyed this book, and I can reread all of Sophie Kinsella's books, to be honest. They are so cute, and also they have such a deeper side to it as well, in terms of, you know, character development, and also it's cute. So yeah, I really enjoy Sophie Kinsella's books. Now we're going into books I've read since the booktubeathon. And so the first one is Infinite Sea by Creek Yancey. I don't know if I've talked to you about this actually, but I didn't actually find it that bad. You know, a lot of people were like, oh, it's not good, I didn't like it, but I think it's so short, and it packs so much, like so much information, so much new stuff, so much new developments, and, you know, just the story gets so much more complicated every time. The characters as well, I'm just like, it's so painful. This series is so painful. That's literally all I can think of. The Infinite Sea, if you don't know, it's the second book in the Fifth Wave series by Rick Yancey, and this is just a continuation, so I can't give you anything away by explaining the plot, but by now you know what the Fifth Wave is. It was very popular like 4 or 5 years ago on BookTube. It has a movie made of it, and this is a sequel. I don't see that the movie is gonna get a sequel, but the book does, and there is a 3rd installment that I need to check out. So yeah, this one I gave 4 out of 5 stars. Really interesting read, and really like chaotic, basically. The next book was a cute one called Everything Leads to You by Nina LaCour. Again, I get really late to the trendy books, and this one was really hyped up in like 2014-15 when it came out in 2014. So it's a 4-year-old book right now, but it's a very diverse story and very interesting. I'm very curious about the backstage and the making of and the production side of cinema. I've always been really interested about it, even in a like very normal, just watching the making of section of the DVDs. I just always look for DVDs with like extra material, so I can watch like the making of and stuff. And so this is basically a novel delving into that world, especially production and design, and set interior and set design. And it was really cool. I really love that aspect of it. It's a very LA book. Like, I feel like I'm not in the real life of anyone, because they have this house for themselves, and it's very odd. I'm 23 almost, and, you know, none of my friends live alone. No one lives alone here. We only move out of our house if you need to, to study, or if you're like getting married or getting together with your partner and you decide to finally, move in together. So it's that part of them living in this house, and having like almost no contact with parents. It's odd, but when they do have contacts with parents, it's really, really cute, and I really enjoy that aspect of it as well. The story itself is cute, and I give it 4 out of 5 stars as well. There's other books by Nina LaCour that I think is gonna be really interesting as well. Sorry about my computer. And lastly, The Blood of Olympus, the last book in the Heroes of Olympus series. This is the final book, and it was painful and amazing, and such a great wrap-up of a series, so well constructed. I love when they travel. I love like any road trip book. So when they were coming back to America from Europe, and they stopped in different places, and one of those places was Évora, which is a Portuguese city in Alentejo in the south. And it was so interesting to read about it from an American point of view, Rick Riordan, and it's so cute that he saw that he mentioned, that we spend a lot of time, just eating and drinking and having coffee outside cafes and talking, especially in the summer. It was really cute to see that side, like to see one of our cities, and not a very well-known city for a lot of foreigners from very far away. And so it was really lovely to see Évora there and depicted in such a good light as well. That chapel with bones, this is not a spoiler because you don't know when it comes up in the story, but there's a chapel made of bones with an inscription in the front, in the entrance. That chapel exists, so if you're American or from wherever you are and you've read this book and you thought he made that part up, he didn't. The Roman temple exists, and the chapel made of bones exists. It's one of our most celebrated cultural sites. Like, everyone knows about it, and once in your life you will end up going there to see, because it's really creepy and amazing in its sort of like in its own weird way. But yeah, there is a chapel made of bones here, so not here, but in my country. So yeah, this book was amazing. I love the conclusion. I kind of teared up a bit in the end because if you've read it, you know what happens. I give it 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. This summer I've read a lot of books. It helped me a lot on my reading challenge as well. My reading challenge for this year. Yeah, that's all from me today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. All my media links are down below in the description box. You can check them out if you want to. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up or subscribe, and I hope to see you soon in a new video soon. Goodbye!